What is up, nerds? It has been a long time. Justin, how you been, man? And
we're
honestly,
back, baby.
We're back, dude. We're freaking back. I'm sure everybody's wondering, where the hell have these two idiots been? And
by everybody, you mean maybe like 4 people. But yeah.
Well, really, where has
fans,
this one idiot and Justin been? But we're back, man. We made it back. I've been crazy busy. This has mainly been my fault. But Justin also was a little bit busy too. I went to Disney World a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. Time is a construct. But anyway, went to Disney World. Couldn't get back in time to film with Justin because you went out of town, right? And
yeah,
then,
it's travel season, man.
Yeah. Then I went to San Antonio to film some project for an Air Force base. And then I just got back like 2 days ago and have been grinding. So, man, feels good to be back. I missed you guys. I've never even seen y'all before, but I missed y'all. Justin, what have you been up to, bro? Have you been playing?
Well, yeah, you mentioned I went out of town. It's your classic question. I went camping and hiking, and my wife loves hiking, so I love hiking. So we did a long hike. Actually, I think it's maybe the longest hike I've ever done. It was like 11 miles. So that was kind of brutal. Yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. I mean, I do like nature, and the weather has been amazing. So
hiking 1 mile sucks. 11.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, but it's good. Like I said, it's cool to be out in nature, and when you're out there camping, like, what else are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
So
you only cried a little bit, I imagine.
Yeah, and then use that as an excuse to just chill the next couple days. But yeah, I've been playing a lot because our tournament is imminent, dude. It's in like less than a week, so I'm trying to lock in.
We got a lot of really exciting things happening over these next 2 weeks, which we will get into, but we'll save that for later. Feels good to be back, man. I feel like the stars are aligning. We're back to just, where we should be. But, man, I'm still using the ESQ-C, and you finally got to hit with those pretty extensively.
Yeah, this has been quite a while now, of course, because we've been out for a while, but a couple of weeks back. And, before we move on to the paddles real quick, we always joke about quitting the podcast or whatever and not even knowing what episode we're on. Well, this is episode 20, so we made it 20 deep. And really, besides this, we haven't really skipped any weeks. So we're, more than 20 weeks into this, which is quite a bit, for us at least. And I will say, for me personally, taking a couple weeks off and then coming back has actually made me realize I don't want to quit. I kind of like it. So
I think you.
I want to keep doing it. Yeah. What do you think? I was going to ask you after, did absence make the heart grow fonder, or were you happy to have it off the plate?
I cried a lot. Every night I was just like, I miss Justin, my pickleball wife. Like, I just really wish he was here with me right now. And I've been looking forward to, this Stacks Cup, dude. So.
Yeah. And hey, by the way, I told Chris this because he told me that you called me your pickleball wife. And and I told him, I said, dude, if anybody's the wife, it's clearly the one wearing Daisy Dukes and booty shorts all the time. So let's just get that out there.
Hey, who plays on the left, man? Who plays on the left?
Probably me, actually. We'll get into that later, too. Who has more testosterone, masculinity, longer shorts?
On, who's cuter? A little bit more feminine?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. I'm not helping my case. But anyway, short shorts, man. What's wrong with those? Everybody loves them. The shorter, the better.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Yeah. I actually will randomly have, when I need to do laundry, I'll be like, I'll grab these shorts that I haven't worn in a while. And I'll pull on some shorts that are like 7-inch inseam or longer. And I'm like, I can't even play in these. What are these? Yeah. Like, why am I wearing pants?
It's like, do I want to go outside and have everybody laugh at me?
No, it's not even that. I just feel like if my knee bends and then any part of my lower leg feels the short, on the back of my leg, I'm like, that's way too long.
Yeah.
So it's not great for athletic performance. Okay, guys, you got to have it to where your shorts never touch the bottom half of your leg under any circumstance.
Honestly, if I could play pickleball in a tracksuit, You know, one of those, you know, what the 100-meter dash guys wear, you know?
Oh,
I'd be rocking that,
you
dude.
meant like, I thought you meant like,
no, not like a, yeah. I don't know what the actual term is for this, you know, things that they wear.
Leotard?
Leotard? Yeah, why not, dude?
I guess.
I mean, you got nothing in your way. You're just rocking it.
Well, you have nothing in your way. So anyway, on to the paddles. You want to talk about the ESQs?
ESQs, man. All
right.
First of all, new week, same main for me. I'm still rocking the 14.3 ESQ-C. I'm just locked in. What were your thoughts, man?
What was my last main, by the way?
I think it was the
I can't even
Monarch
remember at this
All-Court.
point. Yeah, that's true, but that's been like over a month ago. Easy.
Yeah, you're like 7 paddles past that probably now.
I probably would have mained the Neonic Flow Swift, but that's not a production model, so it's not approved and it's still in development. So kind of had to move off that one.
Titanium,
purple titanium.
Polyester, you know.
So I actually had a short stint, maybe 10 days of maining the ESQ. So I will say that. But for me, it was the 12.7. So I play with both of them. I have them both right here. And while I have this out, let me just say, this is the superior colorway. You have the red one, you know, with the red edge guard. Bro, this one with the white and purple is clean, especially with white grip.
Yeah, with the white grip, it definitely
colorway.
Cleans it up. But I do like the red. I don't mind the black either. Don't mind the black.
Yeah,
black
and then,
blue.
you know, here's my 12.7, which is just black and blue. This actually isn't the one that I was playing with. The other one has an overgrip on it and everything. But so here are my thoughts. I think that, yeah, it's kind of worth all the raving that they've been getting, you know, because they're good paddles, right? I think that the 12.7 and the 14.3 get like thrown together in conversation a lot, obviously because of the same model. And by the way, whenever we talk about like ESQ, we basically just mean ESQ or ALW. They're so similar.
Yeah.
They play so similar. The only difference is like the feel when you put a second hand on. That little bit of extra taper, I guess, and extra handle length on the ESQ is much nicer for me, at least, or for people with larger hands, or if you're ever going to hit two-handed shots. But other than that, they play so similar.
Is, as you said, the taper, but the ALW has a slightly longer face and slightly more narrow because of that. And it feels slightly different. It's just for whatever reason, the balance point's a little bit different, and it just feels a little bit, you know,
It's so small,
I wouldn't say clunky, but it feels different. Not quite as, you know, enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'd still play with it.
Such a small difference, though. Yeah, like if you played with one, you could easily pick up the other if it had the same, you know, weighting and just like transition easily. So I was just going to say, I'm just going to talk about them interchangeably. I'll probably just call them the 12 and 14 from now on. This is easier. So what I was going to say is, you know, people kind of talk about them together a lot, which makes sense because they're the same model, but they're like vastly different to me. The experience of playing with the 14 and the 12 is very different. Like,
they're not very... I would not consider them like the same paddle. They're very different in terms of just
very different. Which makes sense. You know, a lot of paddles are that way. Like they'll have a 16 millimeter and a 14 millimeter option. They're very different. But just the overall personality and experience is super different. The 12 is like, as you would expect, extremely poppy. Like this is a crazy offensive paddle. It's very, very poppy. It's like one of the most poppy paddles I feel like on the market. It's super fun because of that. It makes you lean into playing offensive for sure, especially at the net. However, it sacrifices what you'd expect it to sacrifice. The sweet spot's smaller than the 14. We all know this. It's a little less stable, of course. It's still actually decently stable, though, I would say. For being only 12.7 millimeters, it's pretty decently stable. So probably outperforms what you'd expect. Yeah, true. The little extra weighting here that they put more of in the 12.7 than the 14.3, you know, helps the stability. But all that said, even though it's kind of stable, maybe not twist, you're still not getting a lot of energy return if you hit the ball here. So it's not like that becomes a good shot. Whereas the 14, I think, is significantly less poppy. Maybe it's because of what we've been playing with a lot recently, but I didn't find this hard to control at all. Like, so dinks, resets, soft stuff, easy to control. The power, like from the baseline, is actually kind of the same on the two of them. And that I'm sure that has a lot to do with the fact that they add extra weight in the 12. So the stats are basically the same, like the swing weight, twist weight, overall weight, the balance point, pretty much identical between the two of them. So the power from the baseline, and you can see this on the spreadsheets from the other reviewers, they're the same. So they're both significantly powerful, but not Gen 3 level power for sure.
Yeah.
Not even like TKO level power because they're standard shape, but plenty of power. Like the way I had to word it is they're powerful enough that I have to be mindful on my serves and drives because you can't just like rip them. You know, you got to say, I'm going to dial this back, and I can't really swing 100% personally. But yeah, the 14 you really love, and I could not get along with it. It has, you know, that pocketing feel that people talk about. It's like weirdly poppy and soft at the same time, which I think that's why they say it's springy, because you can almost feel it go in and then launch out. Well, the 14 has that way more than the 12. The 12 mil feels more like a stiff poppy paddle like you'd expect, whereas the 14 like pockets in and shoots out. That was throwing me off so bad. I could not get it dialed in. Like the launch angle, especially on, you know, serves and drives and stuff. I was just hitting them not too hard, but 4 feet too high, and I just couldn't figure it out. It's got a lot of spin, so a lot of times they'd come down. But of course, if there's anyone at the net, that's just a kill shot.
Yeah.
So yeah. All that said, I liked the 12 better than the 14. It was just a little bit more intuitive for me. It felt a little bit more predictable. The ball was like doing what I was expecting. However, it was difficult to play with because it is very, very poppy, so it's not easy on defensive shots, and the sweet spot is quite small. But yeah, for an advanced player, if you don't have those problems, if you can dial in your soft stuff and you can hit the sweet spot regularly better than I can, this is like the 12 is like a weapon. And I also see why people love the 14. It has a unique feel. If you agree with that feel, then awesome. But I didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
So
I felt like
the
14 was like the tip of the like the most pop that you can get without it being uncontrollable. Like, and then the 12.7 is just like you cross that line. You cross the line, you know, and pretty substantially. It's one of the most poppy paddles that I've, you know, played with, apart from, you know, Gearbox, Ripple. But man, yeah, I love the feel of the 14.3, the 12.7. As I kind of told you, I played with it, and immediately, this is just kind of how it goes with, you know, me and you and people who play with 50 to 100 different paddles. It's, you pick a paddle up and you can almost tell immediately whether you're not going to be able to, you know, play with it.
It's too much for me
to the best of your ability. And that was just one of those paddles.
It's also consistent for us that I like the thinner core version and you like the thicker, like even with other paddles, there have been paddles where you've liked the 16 version, I like the 14 version. I kind of like that stiffer, like more linear response. It's just easier to predict for me, rather than anything that feels like it sits in and then launches. I don't know. It feels unpredictable to me. That's just me. I know it's a me problem, not a paddle problem. So
the problem is you're just too trash for a power paddle, dude.
It's actually true. It's actually true. You know, all these weeks, I'm just going to have to admit it now, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had my 10-day stint, I guess, maining the ESQ 12.7. And it's a super fun paddle to play with. Let me put it that way. And like, I might have been tempted to keep trying to dial it in if we didn't have tournaments upcoming. Or if I didn't have tournaments upcoming, I might just like pull it out every now and then, because it's just fun to have that much like pop on hand. Hands battles are like just crazy easy. It's just like get the paddle on a counter, and oftentimes it's not coming back. I was kind of, when I played with that, I was almost like begging people to speed up. I was even like bait dinking, which I never did before. Yeah. Just so that they would speed up and I could just like slap it, you know?
Yeah.
So super fun.
Well, hey man, I'm glad you saw what I saw, even though it didn't work out for you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's
the good paddles for sure. No denying that. They are quite expensive though.
They're very, very expensive. But if that feel is what you're going after, there's nothing like it currently in the market. So
yeah, it's pretty unique, I would say, for sure.
We'll see. Well, speaking of paddles that I have reviewed as well, I dropped the Pickleball Apes Pulse series review last week. I'm losing track of time. Oh, I forgot to get them. Damn it.
Recently. It's okay. Here they are.
Yeah.
They're purple with a lavender edge guard. This is the S.
they're man, this is kind of where paddle manufacturers, like the avenue that they need to pursue, is creating paddles that feel good and are more forgiving. Power, as we know from the release that USAP has new testing, is we'll talk about a little bit of that later, but that is, kind of like, oh shit, like what's it going to be like in the next 6 months for power paddles? And where is that actually going to, where is that line or threshold going to be set? So people or companies, in my opinion, should go after more stable, more forgiving, and better, sweet spots in their paddles. And I think that Pickleball Apes knocked it out the park with all of these paddles. Like I played with the Pulse E, which is a shape I literally would never play with ever in my whole life, ever. Like I'll never play with.
That's the extra elongated one.
Yeah, 17 by 7. Okay. Couldn't think of a worse shape for me. I played a couple games with it, and the first game I played with it, somebody tried to do a passing flick on me to my backhand, and I hit kind of like the edge of the paddle, and it just popped right over. Like any other paddle that is the same shape and Gen 2 construction is not going to give you that level of forgiveness, that sweet spot size, and stability that these paddles give you, apart from really the only comparison I can think of for these Pulse series paddles is the J2K or the J2 lineup. Like that's the only thing that really comes close to it. I wouldn't say there's even a standard shape or elongated shape paddle that comes close to these in terms of stability. I just think they're not like worlds better, but they are noticeably better. And I think that's a huge step in the right direction. You got to hit them quite a bit, I imagine.
Yeah. So
what were your thoughts,
first, let me toot my own NERDTOWN train horn. I don't know if you even remember this, but this was like in one of the early episodes. We were like talking about predictions and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is after the industry meeting in May with the USAP, and we knew that they were going to come out with power test. And I had said at that time that R&D is probably going to branch off from just chasing power to starting to make paddles that are more forgiving and have a better feel. Because
way to go, nerd.
We have tons of progress. We have tons of progress to make in that area, to be honest. Like once you play with a paddle, kind of like this Pulse series, it has like a great feel and it's super forgiving. You're like, wow. And then the next question is, why aren't all paddles this forgiving and feel this good, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's a really good question.
I agree with you. I think that specifically the Pulse V, which is like the wide body, I don't even think it's controversial to say that's like the biggest sweet spot and most forgiving paddle like on the market, period. I can't think of one that's more so. The only other one that I think that's kind of close in forgiveness and stability is like the Monarch Control. Yeah. But a very different experience, but that paddle was like insanely stable and super forgiving as well. But I think that the feel on the Pulse is just like way better. And, this is crazy that these paddles actually outperform their twist weight metrics. The reason why I say it's crazy is because the V comes in at like a 7.5 to 7.5 stock. And it's like truly outperforming that, to be honest, with the sweet spot and stability. And then the S, which is this hybrid shape, but it's kind of closer to an elongated than a hybrid, honestly.
Hybrid.
Yeah. But, the twist weight on this was like in the low 6s, but just stock. You see, I don't even have any weight on this.
I put 0 weight on mine. I don't know if I told you that.
Me neither.
But never put any lead tape on it. So can't even imagine what they potentially could be like while weighting them up.
Yeah. Now, I only played with this for about like 4 games. I played with the V a lot more.
Yeah.
But
I played with the S the most.
I expected to then weight it up, and I just didn't feel the need. And like for me, a twist weight in the low 6s is lower than I would prefer. But on this paddle, because of the giant sweet spot and how forgiving it is, didn't feel it needed. So, great job to them. Go ahead.
Both of those paddles have very desirable swing weights, the S and the V.
Yeah, true.
So, it's very impressive,
Great feel, great spin, great forgiveness. Yeah, it's like a softer but crisp feel on ball contact, which is interesting. and it's just very dampened, of course, because the extra foam dampens a lot of vibrations, which feels great. I'm sure if people have been kind of tuned into the other podcasts, they're probably curious about the whole break-in situation. I think we'll just let this ride. Pickleball Apes is aware of it. They even had some of the reviewers send their paddles back to them, and they're going to dissect them. They also have a machine that can simulate ball hits, and they're going to, test and break these down and see if break-in is a real thing, because there's been kind of, maybe I wouldn't even call them conflicting, but just slightly different reports from some of the reviewers. A lot of us are on the same page that these are essentially all court paddles that have exceptional control. But then there have been a few people saying, hey, they break in heavily and then they become all court paddles with a lot of power. I didn't have that experience, but I also have only played like maybe 3.5 to 4 hours on my V. And in that time, it loosened up, but no different than literally any other paddle kind of loosens up. I wouldn't say it like got more power or anything. So we'll leave that. Maybe we'll revisit it, maybe not. Pickleball Apes might address it themselves. But regardless, I think they're awesome paddles, and they're unique looking. So that's cool.
Yep, very well done from Pickleball Apes. I thought their original Proline Energy S was a top-tier paddle, and these are just nothing short of that. I mean, these are genuinely candidates. The S and the V are candidates for Paddle of the Year easily. And one of probably the easiest recommendations I have currently, in terms of paddle. It's up there easily with the J2 Ti and, Monarch All Court. And now, honestly, like the Neonic Flow. So, very, very good paddles. But yeah.
One other thing about them before we move on, just because we know that our audience likes to get into the nerdy parts in the tech. I just wanted to say that, you can see this infographic online, but since they have the extra foam around the edge, what Apes did that no other company has done yet, but I think you're going to see a lot more companies doing, is underneath the face layer, they have 3 rings of carbon fiber, essentially. First off, separating the face from the foam so that you can't just push in and squish where the foam is. Also, it overlaps where the foam meets the polypropylene. So it's a smart design, and it's protecting and encasing the foam in a lot of ways, and actually preventing a lot of the issues that you see with that we've seen now with foam paddles. So they are smartly trying to address the problems that foam causes whenever foam comes directly in contact with the face or directly in contact with the polypropylene. So I just was going to say, this is smart R&D, and I think you're for sure going to see other companies doing similar things, not necessarily because they're copying this, but because, these problems have been seeking answers behind doors from multiple companies now for a while in manufacturing. And Apes was good on them because they came first to market with a solution to kind of get the best out of the foam in the core, but also protect and contain it in a way that protects their paddles and durability wise.
Thank you, nerd. Great work. But yeah, in their press release, like those, they even say that those carbon fiber rings are meant to reduce break-in, any chance of break-in. So we'll find out if they are doing the job. You can never guarantee something until it goes to market and gets tested by the masses. So really love those paddles. All right, we're going to move on to a different level of power, or just paddles in general, which is a paddle that I got from Beatnik. Did you also get one? Hyper Beast?
I have one.
Yes.
I have the Hyper Beat 1.
Hyper
what do you have? Is it the 1 or
Hyper
2?
Beat 1. 1. So is there a 2?
There is a 2, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know the difference between the 1 and the 2. It might just be the color.
Interesting.
I can't tell from the website.
Yeah, this is, I guess the best way to say this is a paddle that has, it's a jack of all trades rather than, a master of one. So this is a perfectly capable paddle that 90% of pickleball players will play with and enjoy it and like it and play well with, because it's not overly powerful. It's not overly control oriented. It's very soft and plush. And it's just a solid paddle. I mean, it gets good spin. It really just does nothing poorly, but also does nothing great. And it's
budget
$99.
all-court paddle.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that's what it does exceptionally. You know, $99 is good value for just a solid all-court paddle. So
yeah. And the current king of $99 that everyone likes to compare paddles to is the Beatnik Prism Flash, and I would say this is an upgrade on that. It's, thermoformed, so it will be a little bit more forgiving and have a slightly better sweet spot, and also give you a little bit more power. So, great paddle. I would say of paddles that are $99, this is up there with the best of them. So, Beatnik sent me a couple of their paddles a few months ago, and I gave some feedback on them. They had promise, but were not, just needed to do a couple changes to make them significantly better. And this is kind of their typical, construction paddle that doesn't have any quirks or, I guess different construction and design. And
that's what I was going to say.
Perfectly good paddle.
Yeah, this is like the Hyper Beats, like their sort of entry level into the brand type paddle. But then they have, their other models are far more unique to the market construction wise. I haven't played with them, but of course, you have. I'd be interested to see what they're like. I think that there's maybe some performance to be gained, but I like what they're doing as far as development, because they're trying some things that are different than other paddle brands. So yeah, this, if they can kind of make a splash with a budget all-court paddle and, build the brand in that way, it might get more buy-in to their more unique models. So I guess we'll see, and like you said, maybe they make some improvements on those and then come back with version 2s or something like that. And that could be interesting because they're doing a lot of stuff that no other brands are doing. So I'd like to see that type of thing succeed and bring some innovation.
Yeah, they also sent me a backpack and a couple of clothing items. The backpacks, I mean, it's really just like a super good small bag that you can, throw 3 or 4 paddles in, your shoes and a couple balls and, snacks and whatnot. And I've honestly been picking that up ahead of the Maverix bag just because of its smaller form factor. But if I need to pack a bunch of shit, I'm grabbing the Maverix 10 times out of 10.
The giant Maverix bag.
Yeah. That thing's a monster. Yep. We also got some paddles from Holbrook.
Oh yeah. I have these right here too.
We got oh shit. I just threw one of them and it's edgeless. You can't throw an edgeless paddle. We got the Aero S. Did you get the Aero S or the Aero T?
I have both, the Aero S and the Aero Metallic T.
That's right.
These
Okay,
are the two that I have.
Good. And these paddles are edgeless, 16 millimeters. I will say, this is a really damn good looking paddle.
Yeah, these look sweet, dude.
These are genuinely
aesthetically. These are some these are pretty sexy, to be honest.
Yeah, these are up there, man. I would say one of the best looking paddles that I've ever
even
tested.
their previous kind of core line has always, their branding's been pretty minimal with their 4 circles and stuff, but they look good. Yeah. Looks good in the same way that Carbon's branding looks good. Super clean, modern, kind of no nonsense. And then these, they added a little bit more, graphics with the arrows and stuff, but it's not tacky. It looks really nice.
No, I think they killed it with these in terms of just aesthetic design. I like how they leaned in to the metallic color with this. I really do like that.
Oh yeah, that's quite glitzy.
Very, very good looking. One of the most reflective titanium faces that I've seen. Very solid. But anyway,
it's like silver,
performance-wise, let's start with the Aero Metallic T, which is an edgeless 16 millimeter elongated shape paddle, 5.5 inch handle. It does have internal weighting, This one has internal weighting as well, right?
Yeah, they all do.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I wasn't losing my mind there for a second. But yeah, they all have internal weighting to help with stability that often edgeless paddles are lacking. These are going to get scratched up pretty good. In fact, the packaging that they came in scratched them up. So Holbrook, if you are watching this, I would definitely invest in selling these paddles in a neoprene cover. So and that's just to go to every single pickleball company. If your paddle is more than $100, put a freaking cover with it. Like, there's no reason not to have a cover for these
you're
paddles.
right, actually. Because we'll get to this, but I got this, the metallic one. I got it after the other one, so I haven't actually played with this version. So this is brand new. Not played with at all. And yeah, my edge guard's already scuffed up from the little packaging piece that was wrapped over the top.
Yeah, as you can see right there,
edge guard,
guys, on
edge,
mine, it's
more like.
Yeah, it's all scuffed up from the packaging, and they put like a piece of foam to even prevent it from like getting bumped around. But the plastic wrap that they use, just like Selkirk and Yola, doesn't Yola do the plastic wrap? Yeah, is just like, it scratches it up. So a little unfortunate. But anyway, to the performance of this, I hit this for a good 15-20 minutes, and it's just a less forgiving elongated shaped paddle. Felt fairly quick in the hands, which was great, and that's kind of the design ideas behind going edgeless. A little bit more maneuverable, hopefully a little more quicker. Did you run the numbers on these yet?
No,
I need to run the numbers on these.
I actually just got this one. Mine came like later than the first, the S. The S I got a while back, and then this one I just got recently. Yeah. So I haven't done swing weight or twist weight yet.
I preferred this ahead of the Aero S for just its actual. This is going to be something we talk about later as well, but it uses the full allotted dimensions. So it's actually a 16.5 by 7.5 inch paddle using the full 24 inches. So
yeah, and this might be worth showing, but you said it's a 5.5 inch handle. Look, it's focus camera. This feels, probably because there's no edge guard, quite long. Like you can see, there's easily 6 inches of usable with an overgrip since there's no edge. Like this feels like a long handle, like a very comfortably long handle.
Yeah. Easy,
so yeah, I would say easy 6 inches with the overgrip. You
have not hit that yet, correct?
No, not that one.
All right, let's move on to the S, which we both have hit. Another very clean looking paddle. I'll let you talk a little bit more about this one, but this is a kind of standard shape paddle, kind of wide body.
Here I am.
No one really knows.
Measuring tape. It is 7 7/8 inches wide, so not quite inches wide, and it is 15 5/8 inch long. So not even
7.7. You said 7.7.
More like 7.9. I said 7 7/8 because I'm American.
Gotcha. Yeah.
7 7/8.
7.9 and 15 point what?
15 point. I guess you'd call it 6.5 because it's 15 5/8. 15.625. So
yeah. Lots of room on the table.
I know. That's kind of the story with this one for me. It's so incredibly short. And then the handle is short, which isn't a knock, by the way, because there is a market for short handles.
Yes.
Right? However, this handle is also blocky. So it's like blocky and short. And like, look, this is my one hand. Like I'm like already up here, and I'm hanging off the bottom. So like, it just covers the whole grip. Which, like I said, this is not a knock. I'm just letting you guys know some people are into this. This would be like, the people who are like, I came from ping pong. I want a paddle that feels like a ping pong paddle. This is like the ideal candidate. It feels super fast.
Paddle for ping pong.
It's very short. You could like easily hold it like this quite comfortably if you want to do that and not like waste a lot,
If you're somebody who holds the paddle like so, man, and you like ping pong, short, super maneuverable paddles, this is great.
Again,
but I did not get along with it.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll focus here, but I wanted to show you the edge. Like this is such a light touch here, and this edge looks super clean. It even feels clean, but the lightest touch goes right through this black stuff and chips directly into kind of what's white underneath, so you can clearly see the chips. So definitely, just if you care, if you don't care, cool about the aesthetics. If you care, definitely edge tape it.
Yeah.
Now about the playability, it feels weird to me because it's so little. Like it feels like almost kind of like a kid's paddle in a way. Yeah. But the actual playability, this has like incredible control, and it actually feels pretty stable for an edgeless paddle, and it has a lot to do with their internal weighting. They put 0.1 ounce on here on the top corner, 0.1 ounce here on the top corner, and then 0.05 ounces here in the bottom corner. So in grams, by the way, that's 2.8 grams. So almost a 3-gram strip on each top corner, and half of that, so 1.4 on the bottom corner. So you could imagine what that would be like. So that does add a lot to stability for an edgeless paddle. These are probably the most stable edgeless paddles I've hit. Especially this shape, of course. But, immediately what this reminded me of was my first like real main, my first good paddle, which was just a carbon 2. Just like old school, non-thermoform, just an original carbon 2, super soft, super control oriented, good spin, has a nice, really plush feel. This is like immediately reminding me of that. Great control. Yeah. Spin is like raw carbon fiber, so it's what you'd expect. And it's very plush. And, it feels pretty stable too. So if you want kind of a shorter, more maneuverable paddle with a small handle, this is a good one, dude. And it looks really nice. Like this is such a
they are
look.
good looking paddles. The more I look at them, the more I like them. I genuinely I cannot tell you how much I think this paddle is just gorgeous. I mean, such a good looking paddle.
So I can't wait to try the elongated
Didn't love
one.
it. But I do think, like you said, if you are looking for a super maneuverable ping-pong-y style paddle, this is great. I just wish it was either wider or longer to meet that full 24 inches. So,
yeah. I'm looking forward to trying the elongated one. I haven't gotten to hit that yet. And it's worth noting that they do have a 14 millimeter version available in one of the orientations. So, I think that these are super control oriented personally, but if you wanted a little bit more pop and power, they have a 14, same look. It's probably going to be even more maneuverable, still has the internal weighting, smart. Like you're going to see more and more companies do this. They should have been doing it all along. I mean, there have been some that have been doing it for a while now in ways that you wouldn't expect, like as in lead tape under the edge guard, Engage has been doing for many, many years. And then of course, Paddle Tech has their putty and steel balls, and then there are other ways.
Well, it works, dude. Hear your undertone of disappointment.
Honestly, though, I'm less disappointed now that I've used it. I mean, I did try the TKO a while back, but that one had that rattly ball in it, so it kind of killed the experience. But now I played extensively with the ESQs, and I'll say it works. It's a little too targeted. I think it would work better if they spread the weight out over a larger portion of the paddle than just having it like one spot, right at 3 and 9. But it does work. So So I mean, weight is weight. Like it's just physics. Mass is mass.
Yes, so. Mass is mass. Holbrook solid paddles. Although I didn't love the S, I do think that such good looking paddles, and honestly, they perform virtually as good as most paddles out there, especially for an edgeless paddle.
Those are already released now, right?
Yeah, they are released. You should be able to utilize the code for 10% off Pursuit or Pursuit 10. We'll get you 10% off. But if that changes, I'll put it at the bottom if that's something you're interested in purchasing or just checking out. But top tier looking paddles for sure. So
and for edgeless, the stability difference is noticeable. So if you say I just flat out love edgeless paddles, but I just wish they were a little bit more stable, take a look at them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, yep, that's a good point. On to paddles that some people may say are top tier in terms of looks, and some people may say are the ugliest paddles they've ever seen. I am the former. I think these paddles look amazing. The Volair
That's the case.
Control 2 Forza and the Volair Control 1 Forza. So, yes, these paddles are literally the Mach 2s or the Mach 1 paddles, but in a... Are they 100% Kevlar? Yeah, they're 100% Kevlar weave. And just as the name alludes, they are somehow, some way, even better control paddles than the initial.
Do you think so?
I think for sure the Control 2 is...
You think it's more controllable than the Mach 2 Forza?
So...
You think it's more control?
The tiniest bit. This paddle gets stupid spin as well. Like
I just realized.
Dumb.
Here you go. Here's the colorway.
There you go. Mountain Dew, Oakland A's, Baylor.
Yeah, true. Baylor.
The Bears? Are y'all
Baylor
the Bears?
Bears.
Yeah.
Don't say y'all. I just happen to be from Waco.
Yeah. But I thought these paddles, although, it is very control oriented, you still get, capable power on drives. And man, the spin is stupid.
The spin is crazy.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's so good.
As you'd expect from the Volairs. I'll have to hit these side by side, but this did feel a little bit more, which is shocking.
You might be surprised.
Yeah, the Mach 2 Forza, I will say, that was my number one control paddle. Far and away. I mean, it's the softest wide body paddle I've ever tested. But for whatever reason, softness isn't only, softness isn't the only thing that equivalates control. But I just feel like I can grab the ball. And the Mach 1, or not the Mach 1, the Control 1 was also very solid. I had no complaints about this. Pretty quick for an elongated paddle with an arrow curve. So I think mine was 114.
This tape measure might be making some appearances on this episode.
Yeah.
Do you call this a hybrid shape or an elongated shape?
I said elongated with an arrow curve.
Yeah. It is 7.5 wide. I guess I should put this on the side. I don't know. You probably won't even be able to see. The length is a cool 16.35, 16.4.
So we're reload
reload Pickleball, Olympus, Mach 1, Apes S. So they're all that kind of same
measure
length,
this. Let's see if this is actually 15.9 by 8.
I think it is
15.9 by 8.1.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Here, look. This is our theme.
We're measuring.
Yes, 8.1. 15.9.
Yeah.
That's 24 total.
That one would shock me. Yeah. So for anybody who's not catching, what we're putting down is there is a obscene amount of paddles that are not using the full allotted dimensions, which is 24 inches. So
to be fair, though, like whenever it's 0.1 off, like these or the paddle techs, I'm not that doesn't really offend me. But there are some offensive ones out there. And now I'm going to be the guy. Everyone just expects to, that one was significantly off. Everyone's just going to expect me to have a tape measure in my pocket. Just like,
how long is your paddle?
Actually.
Well, excuse me, sir.
Actually.
Yeah.
That's a hybrid.
Yeah. I loved these Volair control paddles. I unfortunately hit them the same week that I hit the Pickleball Apes Pulse series. So it's like the worst possible time to hit a paddle up against those. And obviously, they're not quite as stable, not quite as large of sweet spots. And I would say they're fairly close in forgiveness, but not quite. But awesome paddles nonetheless. And if you're a Volair person, easy paddle to upgrade from the Forza series. Easy.
Yeah,
they come in blue as well.
That's what I was going to say. Like, this is this colorway, but they also have a blue colorway that's like very shades of blue. And I really like that one. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I don't think it's like hideous like some people do. But the blue one to me actually looks pretty good. But maybe it's just because I like blue better than green. Very subjective. But yeah, dude, whenever I first saw these, I'm in Waco, right, which is where Baylor is, Baylor Bears, green and gold or whatever. I immediately was like, Volair's in Austin, which is just an hour and a half away. And I was like, actually, I know the guy he's either the coach of the Baylor team or he's like the head of the pickleball club. And I hit him up and I was like, yo, I don't know if you're interested and I don't know if they'll be interested, but I was just like, this seems like a perfect partnership. Volair's in Austin. They make green paddles, and I sent him a picture and he was like, oh, actually, we just got sponsored by 6-0. So apparently Baylor Pickleball is sponsored by 6-0. So that was a non-starter, but my immediate reaction when I saw these, I was like, dude, this would be like an ideal partnership, of course. I actually think that the mock series have a little bit more control. We're talking slight differences though, but I think they both have top tier spin. This and the mock, and I would say that these have slightly more pop and power. Just slightly, though. They're still not powerful or poppy paddles. They're still they're probably just control paddles, especially the the wide body. I don't even know if you'd call them all court. I mean, they might be like kind of edging into all court, but I just call this a control paddle. But it is exceptional. And what I was talking about earlier about the paddle techs, about how you have to, be mindful on your swings. This thing, you do not have to be mindful. Like, it was so fun actually just ripping drives as hard as I can. Because number one, it doesn't have that much power. Number two, it has like this insane spin, and you can just absolutely rip a drive, and it's gonna dip in. And it was super fun. It was like I was kind of tennis swinging, which may not be the best habit to form, but I had a blast with it. And the resets, the control, all that on the two were just super easy. So yeah, I would actually call this a slight upgrade over the mock series, because the control is at least comparable. And then it has a little bit more pop and power, and it maintains that incredible level of spin.
Yeah.
And they have them in blue and green. So that's cool.
The one is not, I would not say the one is like ultra control orange. I would say that's closer to all court. But definitely the two is, man, it's about as control gets. But guys, we're not even close to being over. I just want to let y'all know that. This is going to be a long episode. Yeah. We have a giveaway at the end, so stick around.
More than one giveaway, right?
We have two giveaways. We're gonna have 6 winners, dude.
Yeah, we got some big time giveaways. So.
Yeah, we got some shit going down. So
I was wondering whenever we should let the people know.
Dude. Yeah, we should have said that. Yeah,
let the people know. This is a
maybe I'll say
episode
maybe
20.
Episode 20.
Podcast Palooza, extra long special. Really just means we're catching up.
Yeah, we're just slamming 2 weeks into one. So yeah,
or 3.
Stay tuned. Got a little a big giveaway coming at the end. It's no pickleball studio giveaway, so calm down, guys. Chill out.
Keep your expectations right. Well, maybe when we hit episode, not even when we hit episode 100. Chris is they're on a level of their own.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So you have put together a handful of fiberglass paddles, and you've hit all them paddles, and you've been a massive nerd and created spreadsheets and data points and meticulously calculated your winners. What
again,
what
everybody,
were your findings?
Lower your expectations. I don't know that I had winners as much as comparisons.
Nerd.
So this all started. This all started like weeks ago, and I started talking about it. It's kind of a trend, a good trend, that paddle companies are, utilizing fiberglass in their layup more, and, trying to find a way to use it correctly. Because in my mind, I think that fiberglass in the layup is a performative material. It's actually good. However, you need to use it correctly. You need to tame it, because it's super harsh. We've talked about this many times. It has harsh vibrations, which kind of gives people the perception that it's less forgiving, or has a smaller sweet spot, or it's going to give me tennis elbow, which it really might. So you just have to use it carefully. But yeah, and shout outs to Shapeshifter from Chorus. They did it early, and of course 11624. They've been doing their CFC layup now for a while, and I know there's other companies like PaddleTech and Engage, and of course every old company used fiberglass, but I'm talking specifically about utilizing it in a mixed material kind of way. So all that led to me deciding it's time to compare a bunch of paddles that are either recently released or going to release soon. And the first group of paddles I did this with were either hybrid and or elongated paddles. And it was the upcoming Neonic Flow Prime X. This is releasing on November 19th. Super nice looking edge guard. Anyway, this utilizes fiberglass in the layup. This is a 16 millimeter hybrid paddle. Okay. The Spartus Olympus, a hybrid paddle that utilizes fiberglass, and there's probably more to it. They said that more info upcoming. They're not completely upfront about the layup. However, 14 millimeter hybrid. Okay. Very popular, recent release. The J2H. Okay. This is not a recent release, and maybe this one kind of went under the radar, but trust me, then I'll tell you, it fits right in with the rest of these. So, and yeah, of course, they have their proprietary
4 months ago. That was one of the most powerful hybrids on the market. Yeah.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there are some other paddles that I included that I don't have with me. The 11624 Hirachi X Alpha 1. Okay. So that sentence of a paddle. Nice. So I have one and played with it extensively. And then I've been letting a friend play with it who it's kind of exactly up his alley, or I expected it to be. And sure enough, it is. He's, we'll say, borrowing it indefinitely, which is fine. And I'm happy he's loving it. And he's even texted me a couple times saying that he's still continuing to like it. No. So then, I had originally included the Shapeshifter in this comparison because it's kind of the OG, like I said. But pretty quickly, I realized it wasn't sort of the same as the rest of these, so I kind of dropped it out. And then the last one, this is a paddle that is under the radar by design. You won't know about it. It's the Maverix Havik 15 Pro X. Okay, this is their elongated shape, the Maverix specific elongated shape with the top corners cut, and 15 millimeter using fiberglass. The reason why I say it's intentionally under the radar is because as of now, you pretty much have to be an ambassador to get this, or a reviewer like Lewis, and I guess me, at this point. But so this one isn't necessarily public release. However, we might try to work some of our influence and magic to get this to you guys. So
we'll see
what we can do. So yeah, so this one may be a new one that you guys haven't heard of, but yeah, the Havik 15 Pro X. Okay, so those are the competitors, and I basically did 2 drilling sessions targeted and just like switching back and forth between these paddles at comparing every aspect of them. And kind of here were the findings, okay? The most powerful of the group is this Havik 15 Pro X, which makes sense. It's elongated. It's 15 millimeters. Yeah, this thing freaking slaps. And I'm going to say the Olympus 2 with an asterisk, okay?
Yeah.
Because this is incredibly powerful and probably more poppy than this.
Yes. Yeah.
However, in talking with a lot of people are constantly talking about how their Olympus is soft. It's an all-court paddle. It's more forgiving. Okay, well, mine isn't. And this is my comparison.
Mine was not either.
And yours was not either. To me, this is a freaking rocket ship. Mine is. It's as poppy as the Paddletech 12.7.
Yeah.
And probably as powerful. So these were the 2 like leaders on power and pop. Okay. And then on kind of maybe the other end of the spectrum was the Flow Prime X. I would say this is maybe the most all court out of all of them. Don't get me wrong. Within this comparison, we're comparing powerful paddles. So me saying it's maybe the least powerful in poppy doesn't mean it's not. I would say it's still at the very top of all court, like kind of maybe... it's not moving into power paddle territory, but this is top of all court, right? This is far more powerful than something like the Shapeshifter. Like I said, didn't even fit in this comparison. And
just to clarify for people, fiberglass paddles, because this is the thing that's weird about most paddles. Generally, when a paddle is really poppy, it usually is not quite as powerful. But with fiberglass, for the most part, it's gaining both pop and power. So it's a little bit different than what you're typically used to in terms of performance characteristics and the power pop balance. Sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to make sure that was something that is clearly
Keep interrupting
understood.
Me. That's a good point. And then, like you mentioned, the J2H may have been 4 months ago the most powerful hybrid paddle. This one within this group, I would say, wasn't even near the top. It was actually these two paddles, the Flow Prime X and the J2H, are the most similar out of this whole group.
That makes sense, yeah.
How playability-wise, talking about levels of power and pop, I think they actually both have pretty good power, but not extreme levels of pop. So both of these were easy for me to control. I actually really like both these paddles. I played with the J2H for a while. This was one of my new mains a while back. And I love this paddle, by the way, but this Flow Prime X actually felt like just a strict upgrade because to me it offered a lot of the same playability. It was a little less stable, but that was fixed just by adding some weight. And of course, because the J2 shape is just incredibly stable. But now you get a longer handle, a nice handle. And this one, because of the core that they're using in here, which you'll hear more about later, it dampens a lot more vibrations. So like I said in the beginning, you kind of have to harness fiberglass if you want to use it correctly. So the J2H, this is probably not a tennis elbow friendly paddle. It's a little bit harsh, the vibrations, and the Flow Prime X is much more dampened. Okay, so like I said, the Havik Pro X and the Olympus at the top end, the super firepower paddles, and then these two more at the lower end of this group, but more controllable, more all court, more plush feeling, less stiff feeling. Especially this one dampens a lot of vibrations, but still has a ton of power. Like the putaways are, it's a lot. Okay, and then that kind of leads us to the last one in the comparison, which I don't have, which is the 11624 Alpha. And that one is kind of unique. I would say that it has kind of a soft ball pocketing feel in a way. And it has decent power, but not like a crazy amount, and decent pop, but not a crazy amount. But the type of pop that it has is, I guess this means it actually has less pop, because I was going to say you got to give it a little more. If you just put the paddle out like on a block, it's actually pretty forgiving. So that one's cool. It has a unique feel, a nice ball pocketing feel. And, I think that David is going to release another run of them. But, it might be another limited run. I would say that that paddle has a small sweet spot, though, out of the whole comparison. So for me, since it's an elongated with a small sweet spot, even though it had a unique feel, it was even though it had a unique feel, it was maybe the one that I wouldn't choose to play with. But I know that that's not the case for everybody. People who really love elongateds, who have, tight patterning and no problem with the sweet spot, you might love it because it offers a good amount of everything with a nice feel. I think that's everything on the, hybrid and elongated that I compared. And we'll revisit, some of these paddles. Of course, Flow Prime X from Neonic launching November 19th. We may touch on it again. J2H and Olympus we probably won't talk about unless we're comparing something else to them. And we'll see what Maverix decides to do with the Pro X 15, the Havik 15 Pro X.
Of those hybrid and elongated shape paddles, which one would you pick up first to play with?
Flow Prime X. Yeah. Because to me, and
I would agree.
Maybe I'm biased because I love the J2H and the Flow Prime X actually just feels like a slightly better version for my preferences in that it's more dampened and has a longer handle. The Olympus, while fun in the same way that the Paddletech 12.7 is fun, is not going to make me play my best. And I would say the same for the Havik 15 Pro X. This is an elongated paddle, and it freaking slaps, and probably better in a better player's hands than mine, put it that way.
Yeah. That in a hybrid shape would be very intriguing.
Yeah, 15 millimeters. So, that's different thickness than the rest of them.
Yep. All right. Well, what's next, man?
Oh, well, next. So I had decided to do that comparison because everything was coming out. And then, basically shortly after that, the ESQs, the ALWs, the, updated ALW starts coming out. It's getting a lot of hype. And there are a bunch of other paddles. The Neonic Flare Prime X comes out. And then now I'm like, man, these are more paddles I should have included in my comparison, because these are all, again, paddles that contain fiberglass that are sort of in the power paddle or top of all court, right? So I decided to just do a different comparison. Instead of trying to like add it on and fit them all in, I figured that the standard shape / wide body paddles deserved their own. And these are the fiberglass ones. Mainly, this is driven by, the recent ESQs. And then, of course, this is the Neonic Flare Prime X, which is launching November 5th. So this is like upcoming really soon. And you probably heard a little bit about this because there are quite a few people who actually have this, more so than just reviewers. So another comparison. Here we go. And I'll just spoil this at the front. New week, new main. This is it for me. This is the one.
Oh God, that's good.
So remember, I had my 10-day stint with the ESQ 12.7.
Yep. New week, new main, baby.
This is the one that replaced it.
Yeah.
So in this little comparison, I had both of the paddle techs, 12.7, 14.3, the Monarch All Court 16, which I did main for about 3 weeks actually. The last time I came to Louisiana to play with you, this is what I was playing with. Yeah, awesome paddle. Lowe's paddle. So, and it has fiberglass too. Okay, so here we go. Kind of in order, and I'll dive a little deeper into the field differences, but in order from like all court leaning into power, right? It's the Monarch All Court first, named correctly. This is the most all court of the bunch. This paddle has decent pop, like it's enough for sure, but it's not extremely powerful. It's like more pop leaning over power. And then I would say next is the Neonic Flare Prime X, but the pop is just slightly more than the Monarch All Court, but the power is significantly more. Like this paddle hits freaking hard whenever you're like on. It's so funny. Like I started playing with a couple more powerful paddles, the ESQ, and then this, and there's these people I've been playing with for years, and I've been getting a lot more comments on my putaways recently, like, oh, check the ball. Oh, is your paddle broke? Or people are like, dang, have you been going to the gym? Just because, when you have like a powerful paddle and you get a high ball, it's just done,
Easy. Yeah, it's gone.
Which is nice because that's not something I've ever had in my game before. So this, I would say, quite powerful. I would leaning into the power paddle category on power. However, the pop is higher than the Monarch All Court, but not crazy poppy, still easy to control. Plenty good, especially in this form factor in a standard shape that's super fast in the hands. Plenty good for hands battles. And this one particularly starts super light. Like the swing weight was 105.5, and which is crazy because my the twist weight wasn't it over 7 stock or something like that? No, sorry, 6.8.
6.7, 6.8, yeah.
Yeah. So mine was 105.5 swing weight, 6.8 twist weight, and it was only 7.7 ounces. So I have an overgrip on now, and you can see this is 0.5 gram per inch here.
Which is funny. That twist weight would feel like a super low number because we've gotten to this point where people are, as you say, min-maxing. But like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, like the same paddle would be like 6.2. Like it should be totally different.
So
anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. It was 7.7 ounces. So 6.8 is not a low number. That's almost 7 on twist weight. So that's not a low number at all. That's like impressively high. And I'll get into why in just a bit. But yeah, so anybody who's curious about the weight setup, this is 0.5 gram per inch. And then even with all this on here, the overgrip, it's only 8.1 ounces. The swing weight is like 111 now, and the twist weight is 7.5. So it's like insanely stable, insanely fast, still very light, lighter than I usually play with, but I haven't felt the need to put more weight. So anyway, we go from here, then now we're getting more powerful and a little bit more poppy. Next in line is the 14.3, which I think actually has similar power to the Flare Prime X, but slightly more pop. Yeah. Especially on the sweet spot. Or, like John Q on his podcast, they were calling it on the Olympus the hot spot. They were talking about paddles that have like a small sweet spot that's significantly different than the rest of the paddle. I think that the Paddle Techs and the Olympus both have like a hot spot, right? And if you hit the hot spot on the Paddle Tech, it's freaking poppy. We all know that. So I would say a little bit more poppy with the 14.3 than the Neonic Flare Prime X, and about the same power. And then you kind of continue up the line. The 12.7, way more poppy, and again the same power. So really all three, both Paddle Techs and the Neonic, significant power, plenty of power. I don't have a radar gun, but like I said, it's enough to elicit comments from people that they think I broke the ball with all three of these. So I would say good enough. However, the 12.7 really separates itself on the pop. Like this is crazy poppy.
Yeah.
So
what did you feel was more poppy, the 12.7 or the Olympuses that we have?
The same? Maybe the 12.7 by a touch. 12.7 by a touch, so maybe, but so close. Yeah.
But the power on the Olympus is just significantly higher, in my opinion, than the 12.7.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably to do with the shape,
Yeah.
Because the TKO-C 12.7, I think, is a little bit more powerful than the Olympus.
Mm-hmm.
So all that to say, if you ask me which I'd pick out of the group, you already know, New Week, New Main. So,
New Week, New Main, baby.
And since this one is launching just in a few days, I wanted to share some things about it. And I asked the guys at Neonic if I was allowed to share, and they said yes. So the reason why this has an impressive twist weight while being, so light is it actually has internal weighting. It's here though. So like kind of bottom corners of the side on both sides. And I'm not going to reveal how they do it. I'll save that for them if they want to do that, but it's different. It's not putty. It's not lead tape. It's not steel balls. What else are people doing? Yeah, I don't know, but it's none of those things. It's something a little different, and I think it's a smart implementation that adds structural, structure to the build as well as weight in a good way.
Yeah.
So, and it's right around the balance point of the paddle, so it doesn't really make it feel any like different than what you'd expect from the shape. The balance of the paddle is what you'd expect. And you heard it here first. People are talking about how everyone's copying Paddle Tech with, these 10 millimeter cells, and that's what you see. And then there's been kind of some speculation thrown away around that's what Neonic's doing with this, but this is not. This is actually the opposite direction. These are 6 millimeter cells, and that
has a different feel for sure.
Yeah, it has a much different feel. It's quite a unique feel, and it is the softer grade of polypropylene, in the same way that the Hirachi Alpha is, in the same way that the Paddle Techs are, and quite a few of the newer ones. So for a 14 millimeter thermoform paddle with fiberglass, like everything I just listed is like stiff. This is not that stiff of a feeling paddle. Like the ball really sinks in, it really pockets.
Yeah.
And that has all to do with the core and how they built it. So this is a unique feel. I really like it. It's different than the Paddle Tech. Paddle Tech is unique also, but in a different way. To me, the massive difference in the feel, and I don't know if we're on the same page about this, Lewis, but to me, the Paddle Techs feel hollow. And that's probably because they're larger cells, whereas this feels more dense. So it's got plenty of pop, but it still feels like soft off the face. And I'll let you respond here in a second. So, but the biggest difference, because I went from the Paddle Tech 12.7 to this, and the biggest difference for me is consistency. As a bad player, I need all the help I can get. So
welcome to the club, brother.
Yeah, since this is a thermoform paddle, it just, of course, has a much larger sweet spot. And then the response across the face is just way more consistent. And it's like more of, maybe it's more of what I'm used to, but it's more predictable for me. Like, of course, if you hit a shot over here, it's not going to be an awesome shot. You're not about to hit a winner off the side unless it's on accident. But however, I think it does have more energy return than the Paddle Techs if you hit way off center, since it's thermoformed. And it doesn't feel nearly as bad to me because of the denser core. It just doesn't vibrate in the same way. So,
right.
Yeah, so the feel is more consistent and forgiving to me, and it has more than enough power and probably, honestly, the right amount of pop for me. It's near 14.3 levels of pop, and the 12.7 is just too much for a guy like me. So it's almost as if...
too trash for a power pad.
Neonic... Yeah, well, that's true, but it's almost as if... I feel like Neonic designed this one for me, Like my setup is perfect. I like, because I like thin core thermoform paddles that are more consistent across the face. I like a standard shape, not a wide body shape. So it's perfect. Handle's great too. By the way, it's pretty decently long for a standard. So
I played with it hands on there quite a bit the other day against some players who are better than me, which is always, as you say, the test of is this paddle good for you? It took me a game or two to like really dial it in. But after like that second game, I started to like really play well with it. But for whatever reason, man, I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. It doesn't make sense. It should not make sense, but I just can play better with the ESQ-C. I don't get it. I'm like completely aware of the fact that it makes no sense. That's a paddle that is doing everything wrong, it seems, but getting it right. They're just,
that's that paddle tech feel, man. The people who agree with that, that paddle tech feel, they agree with it heavily. And I think I happen to not. It wasn't intuitive for me, and I think it's very intuitive for you. And we kind of talked about this. We don't have like a real way to measure it, but it feels like it has something to do with the launch angle. Like you love the launch angle on it. I found it to be really unpredictable. But again, you're someone who likes thicker paddles, and I like thinner paddles that have like a more crisp, like stiff, maybe lower. I don't know. But I don't know exactly. All I know is that unscientifically, it wasn't intuitive for me. However, the paddle techs are super intuitive for you. So you really like that feel. To me, they feel kind of hollow.
And to answer the hollow versus dense, that's such a subjective.
Yeah.
It goes for what you may think is hollow, I may think is dense, and vice versa. Or, there's degrees of agreeance, but there's also like degrees of like variance. So it's hard to say, but I would definitely say that I wouldn't define the paddle tech as hollow, more as squishy. But I would say that the Flare Prime X felt slightly hollow. Like it felt, it had. I would say if somebody gave me those two paddles, like which one of these feels hollow, I would say the Flare Prime X. I would say the ESQ-C feels very squishy. So some people may say that that's hollow, So that's kind of the point I'm making.
Yeah. Interesting.
But do not get it twisted. That paddle feels very good. And I would say is absolutely the easiest transition from 14.3 ESQ-C to Flare Prime X. Like that's those paddles are very similar, albeit they feel quite different.
I think ESQ-C and Flare Prime X are both worth trying. If you're someone and you have the chance, somebody who has one, be like, hey, let me hit 100%. With it. 100%.
Yeah.
Now, each person manages their own finances. That's all good for them. But if you're someone who has to buy one of these, this is like $126 after a code.
Yeah, crazy deal.
So then the ESQ-C is $250. So this is like legitimately half the price. And to me, you get, in my estimation, most of the same playability with a different feel, a feel that you may or may not prefer. Like the two of us, we have different preferences. But I will say it's a unique feel. It doesn't just feel like a 14 millimeter thermoform paddle. It's got its own personality in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So.
Yep. Phenomenal paddles. Neonic, we've kind of alluded to this in the past, but Neonic is very quickly like jumping up there with becoming top tier in terms of, they're up there with, I guess 6-0 would easily be up there. Obviously, I think Honolulu Pickleball Company has potentially the most well-rounded paddle in the J2 TI or K, and really all their paddles are really solid. But I mean, Neonic has two extremely good shapes, and of those shapes, all four of the paddles are very, very good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, like 3 brands that come to mind that are kind of in the same boat, and maybe Neonic's slightly ahead. Neonic, 11.624, Chorus. Because Chorus has more stuff coming. And when Chorus releases their full lineup, if it's what we imagine, then I think it's going to be awesome. Actually, you just talk about Neonic being top tier. I didn't even realize or do on purpose that I just picked the Neonic paddle out of both of those lineups.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that says something.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Neonic is definitely up there. They really are.
Also, it's kind of, my preference, of course, to have like sort of poppier paddles, but
for sure.
But yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to move on from paddle talk to talk about real life stuff. This week, you're coming down to Baton Rouge, bro. Playing in
just a couple days.
Stacks Cup, presented by Pickleball Pursuit. So Justin and I will be playing in an MiLP tournament, which is, minor league pickleball, not, the legitness of MLP. But so if you guys are in Baton Rouge, want to come watch, or if you guys, I'm pretty sure registration is over, so you probably can't play anymore. But anyway, we're going to be filming some content, hopefully. Actually, hopefully not, because if we're not filming content, that means that we are winning the tournament, because we're going to have to play both days.
Oh, is that what happened in Houston whenever we didn't film content?
Yeah, something like that. Anyway. But yeah, it's going to be fun, man. You excited? You feel like you're ready? You dialed in?
Well, trying to be, with all these paddles to try. I'm sticking to one now. I'm just, new week, new Maine, you know what I mean?
New week, new Maine, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to get dialed in,
trying to figure it out.
Play quite a bit and drill quite a bit. And yeah, I've been looking forward to it for a while. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Like we're going to be, I'm bringing the wife this time. We're going to be down there like for, the whole weekend. And like you said, if we make it to, the second day, that's cool. We get to play the tournament for 2 days straight. And if not, then we just get to hang out and pretend like we're not sad.
That's right. Film content while we cry. And then the week after that, we're going to Dallas, man. We're going to Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to, I imagine we can say this, but we will be filming with some other podcast guys, as well as going to a paddle release event. I'm not gonna say the company, just in case for whatever reason we get in trouble saying that. But in the event that we can say it, I'll put the paddle company right here. But we're going to Dallas for the PPA Worlds. I'll be there the 7th through 10th. I think Justin, you're gonna be there the 8th through.
No, same thing. Yeah, I think. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Was it Thursday night through Saturday?
Okay, yeah.
But I got some business stuff to do for Pickleball, etc. Got a couple meetings lined up.
Yeah,
business.
Anyway,
you're not invited.
Oh, what? I'm not invited? Damn.
But yeah, it's going to be super fun playing with some of the other podcasters, and then we are not playing in the PPA as of today.
Yeah.
I kind of like
$90, bro. You want to drop $190 to play in a tournament and lose 2 games and get kicked out?
Yeah, we were gonna play, but then whenever Lewis went to, he was like, "Whoa, dude, this is $190 each." And I was like, "Oh my god!" So we said, "No, it's too expensive. We'll just go there, watch the pros, hang out, meet some people, and film some stuff, and of course, like do some meetings with different things." And then, like, I don't know, it was like days later, I was like, "Man, should we just play?" So I'm thinking, we're going to coming off. We're practiced up. We're coming fresh off another tournament, and so I asked Lewis. I said, dude, I was like, do you think we could medal at the PPA? Because in my head, if he says yes, there's a chance, then I was going to be like, let's just pay the money, He said, oh, this cracked me up when you said it. You said, my head says no, and my heart also says no. And I was like, okay, then, we're not playing. So if you don't think there's a chance we medal, we're just not even going to play. Not going to pay $400 between the two of us.
Medaling in a division that we've never medaled before in, against the deepest tournament in the entire United States,
and like most notorious for sandbagging, and it's literally Worlds. There are 4,000 people registered or something like that. So I'm just keeping it real. My heart says yes, my head says no, but my heart says yes.
If your head said yes, I would think about it.
Yeah. So no, probably not. So we're not playing, okay, guys? But we'll be there, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be just hanging out. I'm sure we're going to play lots of open play and/or rec games. Yeah. And film some stuff, and hopefully get some stuff done.
Yeah, may meet up with the other podcasters or other reviewers and mess around, film some stuff. We'll see.
If y'all are there and you see us, say hi. You know?
Yeah, say hi to Justin. Don't say hi to me. Just kidding. You can say hi to me. Anyway, so Dallas after that, and then we have nothing, dude. We got nothing. So I think I'm gonna start. You know how I said I was gonna start Road to 4.0 Gold. I think instead of that, so I was gold or whatever. I was looking at my stories the other day, like archive stories, and I made a goal for 2024, which was medal in a 4.0 tournament, and then so I could, I medal in a 4.0 tournament, and that's like, hey, you medaled in a 4.0 tournament, you have free reign to actually try and play 4.5. So I'm telling Justin, I'm like, look, dude, let's medal or win this MiLP tournament. That way we can drill for like a whole month, and then we'll play in a 4.5 tournament in December before the end of the year and check off that pickleball.
To your credit, you checked off your other goals, by the way. You showed me the list.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And there was like 4 goals on it. He's checked off 3 of them, but which 3? It was actually this, and this one. And you still have 1 left.
Yeah. I can't remember. Let me look at it real quick.
Goal number 2.
Here we go. Yeah. Post 3 videos a month on YouTube, which check. Number 2 was playing a 4.5 tournament after medaling in a 4.0 tournament. So have to medal in a 4.0 tournament.
Not check on number 2.
And not like it can't just be like any 4.0 tournament. It has to be like either it's like stout competition or they're putting all the scores into duper. So it's got to be a very select 4.0 tournament that have to medal in.
Yeah.
Then implement gameplay footage and reviews. Check. Elevate all visuals
thank
for
God
future
you did
reviews
that.
was 4. Yeah, thank God, dude. What was it?
Yeah, dude, your reviews have gotten a lot better. Whenever I first started watching your channel, I was like, it's
dude,
painful,
this guy
painful to watch.
Sucks.
Nah, your reviews have been killing it. Like, yeah, you deserve some love for your editing and filming, especially now, you've been the past, I don't know what, 10? Is it even like a lot of reviews now have been really good.
A lot, yeah.
Solid intros, people just casually stealing your stuff. It's cool. We don't have to go into it, but it's that good.
Oh my God. All right. Well, this just real quick, guys. If you ever are like looking to make a review channel and you're like, man, I need videos of the paddles, do not go just steal it from somebody and put it in your video, especially if you have 20,000 subscribers. So anyway, that was solved very easily. Everything's good.
We don't have to go into it.
Yeah, don't have to go into it. Don't want to call anybody out. Not a big deal. No harm, no foul. But just be original and use your own stuff. So, all right, man. You ready to give away some shit?
Yep.
All right.
If you made it this far, I mean, this has been an hour plus of really boring podcasting. So you deserve it at this point.
Yeah. We have 6 winners. So 6 people cool. About to win something. So let's start with the Maverix. Why don't you go ahead, Mr. Maverix hat guy?
Oh yeah. Got a Maverix hat too.
Bam.
I just got this because I like it. I'm just a sucker for 5-panel hats, and
that's a good looking hat, dude.
Yeah, it is solid.
Hey Matt, send me one black. Of those,
brother. Yeah, and I like to rep the good brands in the space. Yeah. So if I see a good brand with a 5-panel hat, I'm gonna try to get it. Just like I had that
Maverix
Kiwi Labs
also
one.
has phenomenal branding. We talked about this right before just great branding.
This one is super toned down as it's supposed to be. This is like, this is like the black label paddle. This is the unlisted paddle.
Absolutely love it.
But you can see the little Maverix M on there. But honestly, all of their paddles look really good. The logo is super clean. Okay. And the logo actually complements the shape of the paddle, which is like their signature shape.
Yep.
So yeah, I mentioned this earlier in the review or the big comparison and how you can only get this through an ambassador currently. However, I said we might be able to pull off some magic to get you one. Well, Matt from Maverix, super nice dude, has agreed to give away 3 of these to our listeners for this podcast. So here's
Matt,
your chance,
really
by the way, to to get a paddle and then rub it in your friends' faces that they can't get it, at least not yet. And it's sick, especially like, I didn't even say this in the comparison earlier. I meant to. You know what this paddle reminds me of is this is kind of like just a slightly less powerful TKO-C 14, because this is a 15 millimeter. It's an elongated shape. That's an elongated shape. Since it's a little bit thicker, it has slightly better sweet spot and slightly less power. Other than that, they play pretty similar. And I like this shape. For an elongated shape, that's what you're going to get over the TKOs. Since these corners are cut, that keeps the swing weight a little lower. So this feels more maneuverable for sure than a TKO. But playability is similar, and that's a great paddle, and this is an awesome paddle. So there's going to be three of you who get one of these.
Yeah.
Tell them how to do it.
What should we do? Should we have another comment?
Oh, I never know. Every time I just say, tell them how to win it.
Yeah. We got to figure this out. We got to do a comment. Like, okay, well, here we go. Let's do, let's do the best prediction for our Stacks Cup. So, make us laugh, give us a prediction of what's going to happen. Just to give you guys more info, it'll be Justin and I partnered up with two ladies. So we'll have one game where Justin and I play together, one game where the ladies play together, and then 2 games of mixed doubles, and then potentially a dream breaker if you're not familiar with the MLP.
Please. Please no.
Yeah, give us your yeah, dude. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, when you said, "Hey, should we practice?" I was like, "Oh shit, we need to practice singles." Because singles sucks.
No,
so
there's no
bad.
practice for it. You just gotta go out there and hope for the best in singles.
Yeah. So we'll pick our three favorite comments on predictions for our Stacks Cup, which is next weekend. So
the Stacks Cup comments will just be for Maverix, or are we going to do all
Maverix.
the giveaway? Yeah. You're going to do something different for the other giveaway.
We'll do something different for the other giveaway.
All right, I like it. So here's the paddle again. Pretty sick, dude. For like a controllable power paddle, elongated. This thing's nice and it looks good.
Yeah, that thing's it's got some pop though, so just be prepared.
That's why I said controllable power paddle.
Yeah. All right, so giveaway number 2, we have Bodhi Pickleball. Bam! They are going to give away 3 sets of a pack of grips, a pair of sleeves, and then the towel. So the Bodhi towel.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Bodhi. That's like an awesome package.
Yeah, here is the towel. It's very nice, very absorbent, pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it's got a nice little rubber branded piece.
Yeah, stay grippy, baby.
Oh, shit. Smashed my mic. I was going to say, it's an appropriate size. There are a couple towels I've gotten that are just way too big. This one is like big enough that you could wipe your arms in your face, but it's not crazy. And it's kind of, it's like tactile material, which is nice.
Stay grippy, baby.
Meaning it dries you, yeah. So, yeah, this thing is pretty sick.
These arm sleeves are very nice. I prefer, obviously, the white and black. I'm just not like a super color
secure. You're not
wearing
super secure
person. I'm very secure. Why do you think my shorts are so short? But I just, not my thing, but the black and the white ones, obviously same exact material, same quality. These are top-notch quality. They're not quite as compressive as some of other, is that even a word, compressive? You would know. Maybe you're a nerd.
It sounds like it. You did say a fake word earlier. I can't remember what it was, but
no, I did not.
Equivalation or something in my life. You said something dumb.
These are really nice sleeves. Really like them a lot. And their grips are some of the best on the market, which I've actually was thinking about this the other day. I want to reconvene those grips because I told you the last one I did, I pulled it even more taut than I usually do.
Yeah.
And really liked it. So I might be changing my tone, man. They might be the king of grips. So
let me say this about the sleeves real quick. Here's an endorsement for you. I have 4 sets, a black set, a white set, and then 2 of those color gradient sets. And I don't have any to show you right now because they're all dirty. So clearly I like them. What they are is, if you have tried the Story Eye arm sleeves, these are like nearly identical. The only difference I can even find is that they seem about maybe like an inch shorter, which is not really a big deal because the Story Eye ones are pretty long. But the feel, that stitching, the fabric, everything is like nearly identical for sure. So all that to say is they're really good because those Story Eye ones are beloved. Everybody loves them. It's more of a like very thin, stretchy fabric feel, more so than like a slick polyester feel like some sleeves are. But super comfy. Yeah. And I like the black and white ones too, of course, but I like purple, so I wore those purple ones. And there's also a cool gradient that's pink. And yeah, my wife took those. So.
Oh yeah, I got the pink ones right here, man. Sorry, should have brought those out.
Yeah, but there's also just black and white, and then these two gradients. Yeah, the pink and cyan, or pink and teal, maybe. Those became the wife sleeves at this point, which is awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Very retro 90s Miami Vice look to them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But they're good. They're good. Yeah. I like them.
It's better than blending in with all of the other, black, white, gray brands.
Says the guy who says you only wear the black or white ones.
Well, I'd rather a company attempt to separate themselves. So
I do appreciate that. He made a unique colors, as a way of standing out. Although you can get the black or white options rather than just smacking on a ton of branding. Like you've seen some of the sleeves that have like branding the whole freaking arm. So the Bodhi thing is just a little one
close to the wrist.
So I do appreciate that.
Yeah,
I think they're awesome. I'm definitely. I'm gonna wash them. I will definitely be wearing them.
Yep, I think these are awesome as well. Thank you, Bodhi, for offering 3 sets of merch. Justin, tell us what they got to do to win.
Oh God, I should have seen this coming. Dang. Yeah.
You're killing it, dude.
A bad plan.
You're killing it.
I know. You just put me on the spot like this. All right. Is it going to be a comment again?
Comment. Yeah, they got a comment.
Okay, yeah, a comment again. Oh, dang. You had too good of a one earlier. I thought you were just going to use 6 of those stacks prediction.
Should we just do 6?
Then we just choose 6 winners. But I guess what if somebody wants to win a paddle, but they don't want to win the sleeves, or vice versa?
Or you know what? Let's just do comment why Justin is too trash to play with a power paddle. And the top 3 winners. Our 3 favorite comments are the winners. Bam.
Yeah.
Done.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Comment.
That was it.
I tend to perform better than Lewis, and my preference happens to not be extremely poppy paddles, such as the 12.7.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I hope we both perform exceptionally this Saturday. All right. So comment down below. Honestly, you can comment whatever the hell you want. We're just going to pick our 6 favorite comments. Also, if you guys, the winner will be, we'll tell you next episode how to contact us, but we'll just have you email us and confirm it's your comment. So that's how we will select that person. Also, dude, I haven't really been announcing my giveaway winners on YouTube anymore. I feel like it's just like a useless post that no one cares about other than, just being notified that they lost.
Yeah.
Should I go back to announcing everyone? I just feel like it's extra work. And I want to be lazy. So if I shouldn't be lazy, just comment that down below. But anyway, all right. Choo choo, baby. Bring us home. Take us to NERDTOWN.
All right. Well, I forgot all about this. Maybe because we're so deep,
We're like an hour and a half in.
Yeah, something like that. Also, I messed up my audio. I realized there's a point in which my audio is going to be crap, but it may be only for like a couple minutes. So damn it. That's all right.
Oh well, no worries. Justin,
hopefully
continue to disappoint us.
NERDTOWN.
All aboard!
NERDTOWN. All right. Today we're going to talk about paddle shapes. Okay. Some of this is going to be basically remedial content, at the beginning. Most of you probably know what the paddle shapes are, but just to set a foundation, and for those who don't know, no shame if you don't, I'll define kind of what paddle shapes are, the common ones, why they're named what they're named, and what their measurements are. So go back 5 years in pickleball. Most paddles, like a majority of paddles, were 16 inches long, 8 inches wide. Okay, they were more square shape. Maybe this is even further than 5 years. So that was pretty normal. A lot of paddles were within that range. They were kind of all over the place, but those are like the main ones. So that becomes, guess what? The standard shape, because that is like the standard, right? And you wouldn't even call it that. People weren't even necessarily talking about shapes. But what happened is, I think this may have been, I'll get it wrong who did it first, but somebody came out with a longer, thinner version. They said, oh, well, we have 24 inches of allowable total. That's the length plus the width. Has to fall under 24 inches. Those are the rules. So they said, you know what? Let's just make a paddle a little bit thinner, but a little bit longer, right? So now they took off 1/2 inch and added 1/2 inch. So now you have 16.5 inches long, 7.5 inches wide.
What elongated. Is that shape? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you had, oh, here's my paddle. Every paddle is standard. Well, what if we elongate it? So now you have a standard shape and an elongated shape. And these were the two shapes, really, until a couple years ago, whenever somebody decided, you know what? What if I want the best of both worlds?
What do they call this?
And they go right in between them, a hybrid paddle. Oh. It's a hybrid shape in between standard and elongated.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, so 16 inches long for a standard, 16.5 inches long for an elongated. Anything in between, hybrid. Usually that's 16.25, obviously, because that's kind of your halfway point. So those are how like the three names came about. And then of course you have outliers such as the Apes Pulse E, which is extra elongated, but that's rare. And then you have what's becoming less and less rare, what we call wide body, which is shorter than 16 inches and wider than 8. So there are your shapes, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why we wanted to talk about this is because, I am just a person who measures too many things, right? And Lewis and I have had this conversation a lot. I just spreadsheet a little bit too much, all right? For my own good.
What kind of things you measure, Justin?
I do know. Anyway, whenever I get paddles, and this actually kind of started before I was reviewing paddles on the podcast. This started more whenever I was having to test prototypes and things from the factory, because you don't really have like, you tell them what you want, but then they send it to you. You need to double check. So I got into the habit of measuring, everything. Is this what we planned? Is this what we discussed? Not only length and width, handle length, of course, and I'll break out the calipers and measure thickness, which is actually different than advertised, quite more than you think it is. We'll just say that the advertised thickness of most paddles is within 0.5 millimeter of what they generally are. Kind of the main exception here is Paddletech. Their stuff is always like bang on, like 12.7 millimeters, 14.3 millimeters exactly.
They would
other
never
companies usually other companies usually a 16 millimeter paddle is usually anywhere from like 15.5 to 16.5. Yes, same goes for 14s and 12s. They're kind of within 0.5 millimeter. So all that said is, now that we're getting sent a lot of paddles to review for the podcast, I keep doing my habit, which is measuring paddles as they come in. And I realize more and more how many paddles are not using the full allowable dimensions, right? They're not using the 24 total inches that you can have length plus width. And I would say on a majority of these, they advertise and report that it is,
Yeah.
That will say it's, 16.25 by 16.25 by 7.75. Cool, that's 24 total. And then you measure it and you're like, no, it's way thinner than it says, or it's shorter than it says. Mm-hmm. So this is actually not, what it is. And just something to be wary of. It's not like a huge deal, but if you're a paddle company, first off, report your stuff correctly. But second off, use the full allowable. I mean, it's only performance. You don't want to leave that performance on the table. And we've been seeing a little bit of talk recently of people talking and like finally realizing, oh, I can lower my swing weight by 5 points if I just cut a 1/4 inch off the handle and then put the butt cap back on, because that's like the main way you can affect, paddle length and width. But So I think hopefully that paddle companies don't buy into that and start saying, oh, well, I'm just going to make a shorter elongated so it can be a lower swing weight. Why? Just make it wider at that point. You're leaving performance on the table. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was saying that too. I mean, it's kind of like I'll give Holbrook a pass on this one because they accurately display the measurements. Same with the Kiwi Circuit. 2 paddles that, in my personal opinion, I think would be better if they were the full dimensions. However, Larry has said that, he wants the paddle to be as quick as possible, and obviously
for the Kiwi,
taking some, for the Circuit, obviously taking away some of that surface area is going to make it a lighter, more aerodynamic and quicker paddle. So, understandable there. However, dude, make the damn paddles meet just the maximum allotted dimensions.
You're just leaving performance on the table.
They're better.
Yeah.
They're better that way.
It is better that
mass
way.
Mass is mass. Width is width. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
And there's another conversation to be had. Like, when you're a company and you order from your factory and they send you your paddles, measure them and then put the correct measurements on the website. Or measure them and say, hey, factory, no, this isn't what we discussed. Do it right.
Yeah.
Because there are quite a few that aren't what they were listed as. Which isn't like, it's not like a cardinal sin or anything, but just something to be aware of. And I know that this NERDTOWN was underwhelming because it's basic, but I think there are a lot of people who maybe not know what the shapes are and why they're named what they're named and what the actual dimensions are. And beyond that, there are a lot of companies. Like, if you are a paddle enthusiast, that's a nice way to say it, like us, you can look around right now and see where paddle companies specifically, I feel like hybrid's the one that messes everybody up. As soon as they put like a round top on their elongated shape, they're like, this hybrid shaped paddle. And you're like, no, it's not. It's not hybrid, so don't call it that. Or they'll say elongated this, and it's actually not an elongated paddle. They just mean that because they put a slightly longer handle on it, so they feel like it's an elongated handle. Just name it correctly.
Yeah, a lot of people would describe, these 2 paddles as hybrids. Obviously, as you can see, there's a good 0.2 or 3 inches extra on this Forza.
How is the Control 1 and the Mach 1 Forza listed? Are they listed as hybrids or elongated?
No, they're listed as elongated, but people would look at this and say, oh, that's a hybrid shape.
I see what you're saying.
Significantly shorter. Significantly longer.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of new companies do that. A lot of new companies call their aero curve. And also, since we're, bitching about stuff, if you are a company and you have 2 elongated shapes, one's an aero curve and one's your just traditional square, for the love of God, shorten the aero curve and just make it a hybrid. Like,
you think
you
so?
don't need 2 elongated shapes.
It's not a significantly playability difference. However, a hybrid to elongated is significant playability
Very
difference.
Significant.
And, that is, we're going to have people say, for sure, because I've heard it a bunch of times, it's only 1/4 of an inch, or it's only 1/8 of an inch. How much difference does it make? It makes a difference. No, but legitimately, in paddles, it makes a difference.
Trust me, it makes a lot of difference.
It for real does. I mean, we know what a standard shape plays like, right? And we know what a hybrid shape plays like. And we know what elongated shape plays like. And there are different characteristics across the board. And this isn't news to anybody. Well, guess what? Those are only 1/4 inch differences in length and width. So every little bit, matters.
That's right.
So
yeah, guys, frickin' use all 24 inches. That's all I have to say. Anything else we got to add, man? We got a big couple weeks coming up, man.
That was a light NERDTOWN. It wasn't too nerdy. Don't worry, guys. We'll get into some, deep nerd talks.
Yeah,
but
we did not talk.
That was one that we just needed to bring up, to be honest.
Yeah. It's been happening. It's been popping up over and over and over again. Just something that made us want to officially finally address it. There's your free Pickleball, etc. Consultation. Last time we got fixture fucking handles. This time we got use the full allotted dimensions.
Don't at me whenever companies start coming out with nice handles.
Yeah.
Or do
at me, hit me with that 10%,
Yeah.
All right. So we were going to talk about, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't know there's anything else on the list that we were going to talk about.
We're not going to. Yeah, we're not going to. It's too long.
The next 2 weeks we should, if we're smart, have some content coming out of it. Podcast episodes and other videos. Now, those may be slow to release.
We're not smart.
Well, so I seem to remember us filming something last time I was in Louisiana, maybe a month ago, and I haven't seen that yet. So
yeah, like I said, we're not smart. I've been a busy boy. Yeah. Yep. We got some stuff coming. Everybody stay tuned. Next time we will dive a little deeper into the USAP new testing. So exciting times.
That was the thing.
But anyway.
Yeah. To touch on that, since you want to end, Lewis said we should talk about the USAP testing this week. And I said hold off because there may be some actual news coming out on November 1st. And if you want to get caught up with what's going on right now, every other podcast has already beat it to death over the past 2 weeks, and if we were taking a break. So next week, though, we should have some legitimate things to talk about as maybe some news drops on November 1st. So we'll come back to it.
All right, let's land this plane, man. I'm your host, Lewis, with Pickleball Pursuit Podcast. This is my co-host, Justin, from Pickleball, etc. This is episode 20. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment down below to enter for the giveaway for next week's podcast winners. We got some shit happening. We'll see you next time. Bam.